on to pricing. So, you know, pricing is interesting. If you're following or if you're a member of our private Facebook group, the Sign Fairies, How to Build a Yard Sign and Yard Decorations private group, you're going to see that there's a lot of people who are offering all different types of pricing. And let me just say this right out of the gate, that like, I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to price. For me, and what we did was we did a flat rate pricing. Because the last thing that I want to do is start giving people choices of signs, or, you know, we do offer specific colors, but we don't guarantee it, right? And, you know, having to spell out letters that are $75 for happy birthday and an additional $10.20 for, you know, any letter or any name over 10 characters. Like, that to me sounds like an absolute cluster for me, right? I want to be able to have a place on my website where somebody can go to see what they're getting. Now, I do need to update it because I have other letters that aren't always the same size, 24-inch by 11.5 size letters, and I have more letters to choose from. So what I've learned throughout the course of just doing these videos for you guys is that, like, there are more updates, and I'm actually writing down on my page here an inventory video web page, okay? Because you need to constantly be updating, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about pricing. And what you also want to consider is, in the beginning, when you were figuring out your business name and understanding your competition, right, you should have a pretty good idea of what your local competition is actually charging in the marketplace. What does your local area pay for a rental sign, all right? And what I'm going to say to all of you is, I think that of all your competitors out there, I think you should charge the most. But Rennick, why would I charge the most? All these people will go and, you know, they'll go to all my competitors. I'll lose business. That's true. You might. But how many times have you bought something on sale that says it's $200, but I'll give it to you today for $100? Man, it's a $200 item. I'm going to pick it up for $100. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know, you want to create value for money. And what we do, which not everybody is doing, and some people could probably debate and say to me, I think your flat rate pricing is garbage. I think you could make more money doing it in a different way, which is offering other variations of how you can do your signs. And you know what? I'd totally be open to having that conversation. You know, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not saying that my pricing model is the absolute be all, but for me, because I know that I'm not an accountant, CPA, detail-oriented guy, I want somebody to come here and I want somebody to say, oh, flat rate pricing, $90. This is what I get. Most of the time, what ends up happening is people know that you do signs, right? So they're just going to send you an IM. And if they can take the time to fill out your reservation request form, if you decide that that's something that you actually want to do, they just want to know how much it is. All right. So, you know, I put together for our video number 13, pricing. All right. And I also want to incorporate the one-way trip charge, because the first 3 weeks that we sold signs, rented signs during the COVID-19, we took a bath, only because, you know, we were going 20 miles in one direction and 20 miles in another direction. And we realized the next day that when we sold something that was 20 miles south, that we had to pick that up first and grab everything and then go install it, 40 miles south. Like, we spent 4 or 5 hours in the car, and it was crazy. Now, if you've seen any of my signs, you could probably conclude that we fill up the yard. All right. So, and that's what we say to people who will come and say, hey, what do I get for a flat rate of $90? I say, well, you get enough signs that we fill up your yard. All right. We customize our themes. All right. So, go look at our themes and you can see for yourself. Like if I go to Happy Birthday, I mean, like, I want someone to drive by and be completely, dumbfounded by all of the signs that we have or all of the themes that we have out there. You know what I mean? She was cute. Well, like, if you notice, like, we have 5 signs on the left-hand side of this. We have signs in the middle. We have the same 5 on the right. Like, I want to overpopulate this area. I want someone to drive by and be like, damn, that's a lot of signs. And that's what I want to do. And you may decide that that doesn't work for you, or you don't have the inventory to do that. And that's totally fine also, right? Like, you have to really think, like, this is another good example. Like, can you see the yellow Y that we created? Does it stand out in this picture? Yeah, it absolutely does. How funny is that? All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, probably 19, maybe even 20 different themes on this Happy Birthday display. All right. We will spend some time going over how you structure your sign. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to get across to you with regards to pricing, is that there's a number of different ways that you can do it. Okay. I prefer simple. And I prefer communicating with a customer to understand what Sally likes. And if I can create, if Jennifer can create a special sign that's different for every person, I like that. Right? I really do. And the other thing that we've found that is also really great about communicating with customers is that, like, they're not used to it. So when we tell them that we're going to do our best to customize this thing, it really makes them feel special. And it really makes them be like, okay, that's worth that. I'll do that. So that is how I do pricing. It's a flat rate. Some signs may have 20 different themes. Some signs may have, 15. Some signs may have 25, right? I don't want to get into, you shorted me 1 candle, you owe me 75 cents. I just do not want to do that. Okay. But if that works for you, then do it. Okay. Again, this is no golden rule. It's just what I have done. And I may change it. I may not change it. But I want you thinking about why it is that I enjoy flat rate pricing. And if you agree that it is simple and it's easy and you just need to spell it out, then that works for you. If you disagree, then you know what? Let's have a healthy debate about it. Because that might be a good conversation. That might be a good live stream conversation. Get 2 people debating on the live stream. It could be fun. All right. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about here too is we do all of our installations we start all of our installations from our house. We work out of our house. And basically the 10-mile radius that I have where I'm not charging somebody extra money starts at our house. And then we have a 10-mile radius from there. So we use Google Maps and we type in someone's address in the reservation request form and we get a direction. We get directions. So from my house to that person's house, it's 12.4 miles. I round up or down. If it's under 5.5, I round down. If it's above 0.5, I round up. All right. That's just how I do it. And what I like to suggest to people, what I like to tell people is that I'm going to charge you just a one-way trip charge. I'm not going to charge you a per mileage fee. Because then you're like, oh, per mileage fee, one way? I don't get charged once. All right, okay. And most of the time, people aren't thinking about the trip charge because they're just more eager to get the sign. And if it's going to cost them $20 or $15 or $10 or whatever it happens to be, it's not a big deal to them. All right. I happen to live in an area where, Lowe's Home Improvement corporate office is located. So there's some substantial middle class money here, and then there's some substantial, 2%, two percenters. So $20 at the end of the day is not a big deal, and it isn't at the end of the day. But if you're renting 5 signs a week and you're driving around and you're not charging for it, you are using your car, which is an expense. And you need to not only itemize all of your mileage, but you also need to charge for your time. And that is what we do. Because we have to. It's not really an option of, you have to do it. If you want to work outside a 10-mile radius, some companies don't. I'm a sucker for, I can't say no. So, we go the extra mile, no pun intended, and, bring that joy to people, but they got to pay a little extra for it. So the other thing that I do is when I get my reservation request form and I have the actual address of somebody, I do go to Google Maps. I think this one's all set and ready to go. Whoa, that one was from Kentucky. I was trying to see how far it would go, how far I would go for a plotter. Let's go. Sorry. Oh. So show me where Wood Duck Loop is. I didn't put in an actual address, but it will give me the mileage, right? Hey, Stan, it's my insurance agent. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my buddy Dave Naylor's business. So because I'm under 10 miles, I don't charge a trip charge. But this is where you can get your mileage so that you can determine whether or not you are going to charge a trip charge or not. Now, what I do is before right after, I should say, I reach out and I text a potential customer if they have any availability before I determine whether or not we have availability, meaning that we can do it on the schedule. I check to see how far they are. So when I say, hey, Nancy, thank you for taking the time to fill out your reservation request form. We hope it wasn't too painful. I wanted to connect with you with regards to, Sally's celebration display on, September 10th. Are you available today to connect with my wife to go over Sally's celebration? Yes, that would be great. Okay. So then after you get that, what I say is I also want to be full disclosure and let you know before we go any further that you are 8.5 miles outside of my 10-mile radius, which means that I would have to charge you an additional $20 to come to your location to deliver your sign on top of already discounted $90 rental fee. So you're looking at $110 plus tax. And if that doesn't work for you, I want to tell you now before I waste any of your time. People love that. They're like, oh, great, thanks. You know what? I'm not interested. I don't want to pay a trip charge. Boom. You don't have to worry about it, and you didn't waste any time. And the last thing that you want to do is give somebody a trip charge fee after you've gotten them signed up. There's nothing worse than getting tied down to a fee when you don't know it because you're excited about the rental. You know what I mean? So do yourself a favor and do it up front. All right, because that's just better for everybody and it gives you some credibility. People who don't do that are jerks, as far as I'm concerned. And if you do that, I won't comment. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of people are going to have questions on flat rate pricing, but my recommendation is to keep it simple, explain what you're offering, show people through your photos what it is that you actually do, and customize your service to the customer, customize your display to your customers' unique requests, and you get a if you do it well enough, you have an awesome opportunity to be like, hey, thanks for buying our sign or renting our sign through our I can't even talk this morning, through Sign Fairies. Would you consider giving us a review? And then you set the stage up, because now they've had a great experience and they're going to give you a review. So you want that. You want good reviews. All right. So that was the other one. Okay. So that was it. That's all I want to talk about with regards to pricing. I'm a keep it simple guy, but everybody knows that. So I'm going to suggest and recommend to you that you keep it simple. And if you don't want to, that's okay too. So that's where we're at. So get after it. If you have any more questions, post them in the comments, and we'll go from there. Have a great day, everybody.